Hello everyone, in today's session let us discuss two-step flow theory. The theory was introduced by Paul Lazarsfeld, Bernard Berleson and Hazel Goddard in 1944. The theory was based on the study on US presidential election, and we can trace the reference of this theory in their book The People's Choice. The study specially focused on the process of decision making during a presidential election campaign, how voters took their decision while selecting their presidential candidate. So, to give further impetus to this theory, in 1955, Katz and Lazarsfeld published a book titled Personal Influence. So, before I delve into the theory in detail, so let us see background of this theory. So, these three researchers, they wanted to find an empirical support for the direct influence of media message on voting intention. So, up till then, the dominant paradigm in mass communication was that media has direct impact on people. Media messages are like bullet fired from media gun on the minds of people. People act accordingly and the audience are very passive in nature. They receive the message unquestioningly. So, these three researchers wanted to test this theory, that is direct influence of mass media on the audience. But they were very surprised to know that the informal and personal contacts were mentioned far more frequently than exposure to radio or newspaper as source of influence on their voting behavior. They are very surprised to know that hardly 5% of respondents replied that they were influenced by the mass media messages. 95% of the respondents said that they were influenced by their peers like family members, friends, peers, and then social association members, etc. So, hence, this theory disapproved the dominant paradigm which were existed at that time. So, now let us see the graphical representation of this theory. Katz and Lazarsfeld developed the two-step flow theory of mass communication. So, you could see that there are two steps involved in this theory. So, at the top there is media, and then there are people who receive mass media messages directly from the mass media. Okay, they are that is considered step 1. They were very active members and they are like very actively exposed to mass media messages. Then there are people, they are considered as followers or the masses. They are not very active members of mass media. Instead, they receive mass media messages from the opinion leaders. So, the very active members of mass media are considered as opinion leaders and they pass on their information to their followers. They are considered as opinion followers. So, hence, this theory posits that information passes from media and it moves to two distinct stages. Firstly, the opinion leaders are very active members of the masses, they receive message from the mass media. And then information passes to the masses, they are considered as opinion followers. So, opinion leaders pass on their own interpretation in addition to the actual media contents. It means that media does not directly influence the masses. So, media messages are received from the opinion leaders and then they add their own interpretation and additional ideas to the mass media content and then they pass on that information to the opinion followers. So, there comes the concept of personal influence. So, personal influence means that process intervening between media's direct message and the audience ultimate reaction to that message. So, here opinion leaders are quite influential in getting people to change their attitude and behavior and are quite similar to those they influence. They are very active members of social groups, they are literate people, they are good at consuming media content and they are very good at influencing the people because they own communication skill. So, there are two steps in a process of mass communication content passing to people. So, let us see contemporary relevance of this theory. So, in the times of digital era, the more than 6 decades old theory sparks with a much new interest. So, modern social media platforms like Twitter and other platforms exhibit clear evidence of existence of two-step flow of information. because many social media users, they obtain their news from the celebrities and they then amplify that content, they act as opinion leaders and then they pass that information to the social media users. So, they get informed by the opinion leaders' posts, social media comments, etc. However, there are criticism on this theory. The theory came under some criticism in 1970s and 1980s. The researchers argued that the process of two-step flow model of communication, it is oversimplification, and the actual flow of information from mass media to media consumer has more than 2 steps. There might be more than 2 steps. There might not be only vertical flow of information, there might be horizontal flow of information. So, the further studies on the opinion leaders and two-step model flow theory led to the modification of two-step flow concept, and there emerged multi-step flow theory. So, it was observed that the influence can be multidirectional also, and it is not necessarily downwards, it can be upwards, it can be vertical, it can be horizontal also, and influence can be upwards or even backwards towards the media as well. So, to explain this graphically, so there is mass media and there are followers, there are opinion leaders. Mass media content may be directly consumed by the opinion leaders and they can pass on that information to the followers, or sometimes followers can directly expose to mass media and then they get the information. Again, there will be upwards flow of information. Followers can add their own interpretation to the mass media content and they may send it to the opinion leaders or directly to mass media also. So, flow of information can be multi-directional also. So, there emerged multi-step flow of communication. So, to give example to multi-direction flow of information, the feedback process in which the audience, readers, viewers or listeners, they could write to the media suggesting, requesting, appreciating or criticizing things or events or issues. And the influence could also be peer to peer, where audience with a similar opinion, they can exchange their ideas, they can share their insights, or sometimes they can alter the opinion leaders' ideas also. So, hence there is a multi-directional flow of information. And multi-step flow concept was seen as having many relay points also. So, the information reaching a members of audience directly or reaching a second hand, or it may reach third hand or even a fourth hand also. So, many times the information reaches the mass audience in altogether can have a different shape from the original piece of information also, alteration of information also. So, everyone who passes the information adds his or her own interpretation to it, giving it a new meaning also. So, hence the multi-step flow can be seen in today's networked society also. Some people are receiving messages directly, or sometimes they may be directly involved in content creation. They can add their own interpretation to the media messages. They can share their own interpretation to others also. So, there is multi-directional flow of information. So, in conclusion, two-step flow or multi-step flow theory disapproved the dominant paradigm in mass communication, where they strongly believed there is direct impact of mass media on the people. So, this theory disapproved the existence of direct influence of mass media. Instead, it stressed the personal influence and indirect influence of mass media on the people. So, with this I will conclude today's session. We will meet again with another topic. Thank you for watching this video.